Hey YouTube, G492 with Let's Read with Jeffrey. Chapter 3, Welcome to Dictionopolis. You must excuse my gruff conduct, the watchdog said, after they had been driving for some time. But you see, it's traditional for watchdogs to be ferocious. Milo was so relieved at having escaped the doldrums that he assured the dog that he bore him no ill will, and, in fact, was grateful for the assistance. I will go up to page 37, because it's a bit long. Anyway. Splendid, shouted the watchdog. I am very pleased. I'm sure we'll be great friends for the rest of the trip. You may call me Tog. That is a strange name for a dog who goes tick, 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 tick all day. Why don't they call you... Don't say it, gasped the dog, and Milo could see a tear well up in his eye. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, said Milo, not meaning to hurt his feelings. That's all right, said the dog, getting hold of himself. Yeah, sorry, I thought we went video. It's an old story, but a sad one. But I can tell it to you now. When my brother was born, the first pup in the family, the parents were so overjoyed and they immediately named him Tick, in expectation of the sound that they were sure he'd make. On the first winding him, they discovered to their horror that instead of going tick, 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 he went tock, 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 tock. They rushed to the Hall of Records to change the name, but too late. It had already been officially inscribed, and nothing could be done. When I arrived, they determined not to make the same mistake twice, and since it seemed logical that all their children would make the same sounds, they named me Tock, of course, and you know the rest. My brother is called Tick, because he goes tock, 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 and I'm called Tock, because I go tick, 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 tick. Both of us forever burdened with the wrong names. My parents were so overwrought that they gave up having any more children and devoted their lives to doing good work among the poor and hungry. How did you become a watchdog? Interjected Milo, hoping to change the subject, as Tog was sobbing quite loudly now. That, he said, rubbing a paw in his eye, is also traditional. My family have always been watchdogs, from father to son, almost since time began. You see, he continued, beginning to feel better, once there were no time at all, and people found it very inconvenient. They never knew whether they were eating lunch or dinner, and were they always missing trains. So time was invented to help them keep track of the day, and to get places when they should. When they began to count all the time that was available, what with 60 seconds in a minute, and 60 minutes in an hour, and 24 hours in a day, and 365 days in a year, it seemed as if there was too much more than could ever be used. If there's much of it, it couldn't be very valuable, was the general opinion. And it soon fell into disrepute. People wasted it and even gave it away. Then we were given the job of seeing that nobody wasted time again, he said, sitting up proudly. It's hard work, but a noble calling. For you see, and now he was standing on the seat, one foot on the windscreen, shouting with his arms outstretched, it is our most valuable possession, more precious than diamonds. It marches on and tide waits for no man, and at the point in the speech the car hit a bump on the road and the watchdog collapsed in a heap on the front seat with alarm ringing ferociously. Are you all right? Shouted Milo. Grunted Tok. Sorry to get carried away, but I think you get the point. As they drove along, Tok continued to explain the importance of time, quoting the old philosophers and poets and illustrating each point with gestures that brought him ferociously close to tumbling headlong from the speeding car. Before long, they saw in the distance the towers and flags of Dictionopolis, sparkling in the sunshine, and in a few moments they reached the Great Wall, stood in their gateway to the city. Roared the sentry, clearing his throat and snapping smartly to attention. This is Dictionopoly, a happy kingdom, advantageously located at the foothills of confusion and caressed by gentle breezes from the sea of knowledge. Today, by royal proclamation, is market day. Have you kind to buy or sell? I beg your pardon, said Milo. Said Milo. Buy or sell, repeated the sentry impatiently. Which is it? You must have come so far as a reason. Well, Milo began. Come now, if you don't have a reason, you must be at least to have an explanation, or certainly an excuse, interrupted the sentry. Milo shook his head. Very serious, very serious, the sentry said, shaking his head also. You can't get in without a reason, he thought for a moment, and then continued. Wait a minute, maybe I have an old one you can use. He took a battered suitcase from the sentry box and began to rummage busily through it, mumbling to himself, no, this won't do, no, this is fine. He tried holding a small medallion on the chain. He dusted it off and engraved on one side were the words, Why not? That's a good reason for almost anything. A bit used perhaps, but still quite serviceable. And with that he placed it round Milo's neck, pushing back the heavy iron gate, bowed low and motioned them into the city. I wonder what the market will be like, thought Milo, as they drove through the gate. But before there was time for an answer, they had driven into an immense square crowd with long lines of stalls heaped with merchandise and decorated in gaily coloured Burlington. Overhead, a large banner proclaimed, Welcome to the Word Market. And from across the square, 5 very tall, thin gentlemen, regularly dressed in silks and satins, plumed hats and buckled shoes, rushed up to the car, stopped short, mopped 5 brows, caught 5 breaths, unrolled 5 parchments, and began talking. Greetings, salutations, welcome, good afternoon, hello. Milo nodded his head, and they went on reading from their scrolls. By order of Azaz, the unabridged, King of Dictionopolis, Monarch of Words, Emperor of Phrases, Sentences, Miscellaneous Figures of Speech, we offer you to the hospitality of our kingdom, country, nation, state, commonwealth, realm, empire, palatine, principality. Do all these words mean the same thing? Asked Milo. Of course, certainly, precisely, exactly. Yes, they replied in order. Well, ma'am, said Milo, not understanding why each one said the same thing in a slightly different way. Wouldn't it be simpler to just use one? Just use one. Nonsense, ridiculous, fantastic, absurd bosh, they chorused again and continued. We're not interested in making sense. It's not our job, scolded the first. Besides, explained the second, one word is as good as another, so why not use them all? Then you don't have to choose which one is right, advised the third. Besides, decided the fourth, if one is right, then 10 are 10 times as right. Obviously, you don't know who we are, said the fifth. And they presented themselves one as one. Duke of Definition, Minister of Meaning, Earl of Essence, Count of Connotation, the Undersecretary of Understanding. Tomorrow we will read the end of Welcome to Dictionopoly, and a bigger confusion in the market. And that's it. Goodbye. Sorry for this really short episode, and next episode is also going to be short.